But no
Good
amount. So
morning,
you're using your
Madam Chair.
organic budget, right?
Good morning, Madam Chair. The
morning.
focal person for this is a director from my office, ma'am. So the funding is carried by DENR, madam. We are co-chair for the communications.
Can you brief me about the Asia Pacific DRR conference?
Ma'am, this is the first of its kind being held here in the Philippines. It is a ministerial level conference where we have we have sent invitations to all of the countries in Asia. And as of now, so there are already the target number of attendees for this 300 to 400, but after the DANR, we are very proud to say that after the DANR sought the assistance of the PCO for promotions, they have now over 1,000 registrations. So this will be held in PICC. In fact, the run through for this will be tomorrow. So the objectives are to review the progress and on implementing the Sendai framework, which essentially, ma'am, is to strengthen networks and partnerships between the
Can you
countries.
please tell me the difference between the Yogo Framework for Action and the Sendai Framework?
Ma'am, I would have to look into the
Yes,
comparison.
because you're doing the communications, right? And you
Yes,
mentioned the
ma'am.
Sendai Framework.
Yes,
Yes, that was 2015 in Sendai,
ma'am.
and I was there. I led the delegation. So
I see.
may I know, please, from the PCO, what is a Sendai Framework for Action, since you're co-chairing the DRR conference? Just brief me, because I may have forgotten from 2015. May I know i-flash lang nyo, or just say it. What is a Sendai Framework for Action? And how was it transitioned from the Yogo Framework for Action? And if the Sendai Framework for Action is the peg of the Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference, please explain. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we are calling into the room now the director who is the lead for this, so she can answer specifically. What I have here, ma'am, are pointers for the Sendai framework, which focuses on. So I have here 4 points. Firstly, understanding disaster risk. Secondly, strengthening disaster risk governance to manage disaster risk. Thirdly, investing in reduction for resilience. And lastly, enhancing disaster preparedness for effective responses.
How will you be able, do you have a communications plan for the Asia Pacific Conference on DRR?
Yes, ma'am. It's already ongoing. So
can we
the
have a copy of
role-
the communications
Of course,
plan? But you have a zero budget. You're just using your organic budget. Yes. We please give us the communications plan for the DRR conference. That's on October 16,
Correct, ma'am.
right? It's 2 weeks from now.
Yes, ma'am.
So there should be a pre-ministerial conference, press conference, right? And communications on media and on social media, and the conference itself, and a post-conference communications plan. May I see that? Are you ready with it? If you're not ready with the plan, can you kindly submit before the end of office hours whatever you have? Yes, I want to see.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
We have the reports, but we will put together everything that you have asked for, ma'am, and submit that before 5 p.m. today.
A way to deal with natural hazards and for disaster risk reduction. But all of that should be communicated, understood in the local language and or dialect in the different regions, provinces, barangays of our country. Yeah. So I need to see, please, your communications plan. I want to see how the PCO prepares for a major conference for a major conference in the country?
Yes, Madam Chair, we will submit the communications plan before 5 p.m. today.
Do you have it ready? You can flash it here or hindi pa kayo handa?
Madam Chair, may I please give the floor to Director Faith De Guia, who
Yes.
is in charge.
Okay.
Is the PCO focal point person.
Morning, Madam Chair. So for the media plan, actually, we're co-chairs with DNR.
It's the focal in DNR.
That would be ASEC Rochelle Gamboa po and USEC Malu Ernie. So we're actually just guiding them basically because what they need is they need help to get extra media mileage because this topic basically is parang intimidating kasi siya for the regular audience. So what we're trying to help them with is to ensure that it reaches the relevant stakeholders.
Okay, para maintindihan everybody here in the room, including those my staff, basahin nyo ang Yogo Framework for Action. Basahin nyo ang Sendai Framework for Action. Hindi dapat na meron halal na tao o appointed sa gobyerno na hindi alam ang Yogo at ang Sendai. Alam ng DFA yan, di ba? O baka si Yusek, Jess, kaya mong paliwanag. Were you with me in 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
You were with us, yeah?
Yes, indeed.
I co-headed the delegation.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just okay. Educate all of my staff and all of those new in government. The Sendai Framework for Action. Basic lang.
Well,
Yusek, Jess Domingos
okay,
recognized. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. So, basically, Sendai focuses more on the prevention of natural hazards through implementation of plans, programs, whereas the Hyogo framework focus on the understanding of the risks and responses entailed in natural disasters.
So the difference would be, Yogo was 2005 to 15,
Yes,
right? We transitioned from Yogo to Sendai 2015 to
On-
30? To 30?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I believe.
Not 25. Yes. So in Yogo, they aspired to reduce disaster losses by reducing the risk. Everybody, you check if I'm correct, as a global champion of DRR, baka nakalimutan ko na, to reduce the risk. Pero dapat, hindi lang reduce, di ba? We should prevent it. Kung naka-preposition, dapat i-prevent, di ba? Prevent. And then Yogo was also improving resilience. Remember, this was 205. At that time, puro response-oriented. No. But how can you improve resilience if you do not even know where it strikes, how it strikes? You do not know the vulnerabilities, the hazards, and the risks. So it should be science-based, knowing the hazards, iba yun, multi-hazards, iba yung risks and vulnerabilities, then you can improve your resilience. Tama ba, Gary? Yes, karong yes eh. But so ito, importante magkaroon ng DRR CCAM program ang PCO as a spin-off of this Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference. So, after this conference, gather whatever experts, assuming I have something new to say in my speech, okay, but gather it and simplify it so that this can be communicated in the barangays. Yes, yes. Okay, Director Faith.
We're actually working with DNR po with regards to simplifying the technicalities that's involved in this conference. So what we're going to be helping them with basically is to release, to help them with media mileage. So we're going to assist them also with social media plans. So we're going to be covering each event. We're going to provide coverage via photo releases, PRs, captioning, and also live streaming of the event. So basically, technical work po yung ipoprovide namin tulong sa kanila.
So DNR takes care of
That's the substantives.
the substantives. But it doesn't mean just because your media, you just do, okay, we do Facebook Live, we do live streaming, okay, we post the PR, that's it. No, you should understand what your covering and posting, right?
Yes, yes, but
Yes, so I'll have a separate meeting with the media team with Tala and Cesar for this before the event. And I want to see first, maybe we don't discuss it now. Give me your media plan. If you don't mind, I'm going to help you tweak it. See,
sure.
and then you understand it with the USEC Te or USEC Leones. Yes, have a briefing. Just read on DRR so that you know what you're communicating, right?
Yes,
And then, okay, live stream. I mean, that's very usual. Okay, draft a PR. Okay, blast it. Star, Inquirer, Try Media. How else? How else will you ensure that the conference is effective by communicating the importance of preparedness to reduce disaster risk to improve an LGU's or a community's resilience to natural hazards?
Looking into getting parang champions po from each LGUs to talk about their best practices, what they did during specific disasters, natural disasters. So parang ano po, mga stories nila on how they went about it para mas relatable po siya actually sa masa. Yes po.
It's very broad. Maybe you should improve on this. Anyway,
The
sige.
detailed calendar,
Just-
Chair, we can
Just kindly
provide po.
give me the media plan after the session, after hearing.
Copy.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Are you new in government? You've been here.
I'm new po, particularly.
New? How new?
Just joined in this administration po.
And before that, were you in media?
I was in corporate po.
Okay. Sige. Thank you. Let's proceed. So, I need to see the media plan for the DRR conference. Pandi naman sayang, Asia Pacific yan. Oo. At sana yung maintindihan doon, yung matutunan doon, magamit din natin sa mga LGUs. Diba? So it doesn't stay in the minds of the speakers and the experts and hanggang sa atin. Sige. Okay, proceed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Director Faith. To proceed, these are also some of our ongoing projects. Usapang Agrikultura, Kapihan sa Bagong Pilipinas, the PCO Media Orientation.
Usapang Agrikultura.
All right, that's my project.
What is that?
All right, Usapang Agrikultura, we utilized on-air online in sustainable speed and sustainable focus so that 5 to 6 in the morning in all radio stations of Radyo Pilipinas, about 28 of them will feature issues, content on agriculture. So that it's not only about bigas pala, it's something to do with livestock, entrepreneurship. That's every day po, 5 to 6 in the
5
morning. Opo, every day po.
Is Radyo Pilipinas Radyo ng Bayan?
Formerly Radyo ng Bayan, it
Okay.
is now Radyo
So,
Pilipinas
Okay,
po.
pangalan lang yun. So, there are 28 radio stations.
Opo, opo.
Okay.
Opo.
Please give us the focal. Make sure we send our daily or
Yes.
sorry, every day I churn out press releases. Make sure it's carried,
Yes po.
and some are agriculture. It's carried by Radyo ng Bayan. Ha? It's now called Radyo Pilipinas. So, the 5 to 6 a.m. airtime ay para sa magsasaka.
Opo. And this is multimedia. We're only utilizing radio shows. Well,
Oh, dapat nakikinig. Oo. Kunin yung contacts ng 28 Radyo ng Bayan, GMs o kung sinong in charge, focal, right? Okay. Tapos yung usapang agrikultura, sino ang nag-host niyan?
all stations ho.
Lahat
Like
ng stasyon, may
Opo.
kanya-kanya ng alas 5 ng
From
umaga.
Batanes to Tawi-Tawi ho.
Okay.
And I receive reports every day who are featured guests and the topics from all these 28 stations po.
At yan ay simulcast o iba-iba?
Individual. Ilocano, Bicolano,
Okay.
Bicolano,
At
Ilonggo.
Usaping agrikultura sa 28 na stasyon, depende syempre sa sitwasyon doon at sa needs nila.
Exactly.
That's a good project.
It's a, they speak Ilonggo in Ilonggo, Cebuano
Sure.
in Cebuano.
Sure.
So it's 28 ma'am. It's every day, 5 to 6 because
Asan ang Radyo Pilipinas sa Panay? Iloilo?
okay, I can meron tayo. RP1. I have the list of all radio stations so I can provide you.
Yes. Saan ang sa Region 6?
Region 6, let me see.
as micromanaged as this. Kausap ko ang 5 barangay captain sa Pandan, sa aking banwa. Kulang lang sila ng rice fresher. Hiningi ko kay Sec Laurel, oo daw magpapadala. So, imagine kung hindi pa nagpunta rito at pinapunta ko yung mga kapitan, hindi ko pa malalaman. Hindi alam ng MAU, Municipal Agriculture Officer. Lalong hindi alam ng province, hindi ko alam anong ginagawa ng mga provincial agricultures, hindi alam. Nagpunta pa sa Senado dahil inimbita ko, panaginip lang na nila magkaroon ng rice fresher. Di ba nakakadurog ng puso? Tinanong ko magkano, 35,000. Tapos kailangan ng makina, 15,000. Bibiling ko na sana sa Kalibo dahil wala naman sa hometown ko sa Aklan, pero sa Antique, sa Pandan. Pero sabi ni Sec Laurel, kaya niya magpadala. So, 1 minute suspension, just have to take a call. Pag-isipan niyo at natutuwa information network kay mga batikan dito. Yung mga module sa barangay kung paano ititrain ang mga barangay secretary sa news reporting, basic lang, gumawa ng memo. Nahulog yung puno kasi mahangin. Walang tubig, tigang ang lupa. Ay, may bagyo. Nagkaroon, paano ang mga, o kaya may sighting ng ganito. Basta, gets mo kung paano i-communicate. Tapos, yung action, hindi pwede i-communicate tapos titingin sa langit. Paano i-connect ang national government programs, right? That's a challenge. Pero, ayun, pag alam ko yung impormasyon, alam ko na kagad, give me a problem. Yan, sige. So, gusto ko mangyari sa inyo, give me a problem of the barangay and how do you solve it? Ikaw na muna, sige. Commercial break to Director General Torres, give me a problem, anything na maisip mo, i-test mo ko, I'll try to solve it.
Ma'am, walang tubig sa irigasyon
Anong irigasyon?
para sa palayan.
Palayan.
Wala po sila irigasyon kasi lalo na pag El Nino,
Okay.
natutuyo yung palayan, kailangan nila ng patubig.
Okay. Anong ensya ng gobyerno? Small Water Impounding Project sa
Yes.
DA. Kung may pangalan, sinong head ng Small Water Impounding Project? Diba? Kung hindi man sa Small Water Impounding Project, ano nang tawag dyan sa DA? Yung pa ba ang tawag? So you validated for me. It should be that or hindi naman NIA yan. Hindi naman National Irrigation Administration, big projects ang NIA, di ba? Or meron lang mga, hindi naman hand pump yan eh. Hindi naman hand pump. This is irrigation of palayan. So you answer your own question. After this hearing, give me. Ang sagot ko, sa SWIP. Dati, sa SWIP. Sino ang head ngayon ng SWIP? At yun ba ang sakop nila? Kung maliliit na palayan na 1 hektarya, kalating hektarya, less than 5 hectares, at tigang ang lupa, paano ba? Diba? Yun. Ang aking intindi, dapat DA. Pero ang DA, hindi naman napopondohan lahat. Paano ba? So yan ang isa sa mga impormasyon sa mga palayan na barangay na meron tayong barangay information network. Yan din ang sinasakop. Gusto ko malaman ng sagot. Sa 5 a.m. bukas, talakayin nyo. Care of successor. Yung sagot mo at yung sagot niya, ipapagsama ko. Oo. So pag hindi ngayon syempre tigang ang lupa, pero moving forward, Pebrero, Marso, Abril, titigang ang lupa. Paano? Paghandaan natin yan. Diba? Tapos, kunin nyo kay Mayra, tawagan lahat ng 18 na MAU ng Antique, ano ang solusyon sa tigang ang lupa na walang patubig at ilang hektarya kada banwa at sinong ahensya. DA yan, alam ng DA. Pero ang kukumpletuhin na memo sa akin ni Director General Torres would be DA. Anong programa ng DA? Sino yung head ngayon ng SWIP? Hindi ko alam yung bagong head ng after 2022. At ano yung programa nila? At ano yung budget nila? Sa budget nila sa NEP at sa GAB, wala pa yung GAB, sa NEP, sapat na ba yan? Diba? So yun ang delikado. Pag sumagot ka, dadami ang tanong. Pero tama naman yung tanong mo. Right? Cesar, ask me a question. Quiz tayo palaging ganyan, ha?
Solid waste.
Ay,
Barangay.
nako. Para ka nagtanong sa you put fish in water. Republic Act 9003, the institutionalization of the segregation of waste at source and recycling. Who authored the law? What year? January 2001. Okay. Ecological Solid Waste Management Law. Paghihiwalay ng basura sa nabubulok at hindi nabubulok. Bakit mahalaga? Kasi kung isang tumpok, lahat yan lalagay sa landfill. Pero kung nakahiwalay ang basura, sa bahay pa lang, maski ba informal settler ka, yung pagkain, okay, babalatan ko to, kakainin ko yung saging, yung balat saan mapupunta? Hindi dapat isama yung balat sa isang plastic waste o latak. Dapat to, pag kinakain, yung balat mamaya sa food waste. At meron tayong bin na pang food waste. Sabi nyo, kasi may bin kayo. Paano yung mahihirap? Hindi. Hiwalay. Magbungkal ng lupa, ilagay doon ang mga food waste. Tapos tabunan nyo ng konting soil para hindi naman bangawin. That's food waste. Next, bote, lata, plastic. Yan ay maaring resikulo. Meron dyan mga junk na rinresikulo nila yan, may pera sa basura. Kung hindi food waste, kung hindi bote, lata, plastic, maaring infectious waste. Yan, iba yan. Ang infectious waste, binubukod yan. Tapos yung hindi pa sakop niyan, residual. Yun na lang. Tagalog, latak. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Yun ang mga kokolektahin, lalagay sa environmentally engineered sanitary landfill. Anong kaibahan? Pag walang ESWM RA 9003, sama-sama ang basura, lahat sa landfill. Pero pag may striktong pag-segregate ng waste at source, recycle, compost, hanggang 80% may diversion. Ano ibig sabihin diversion? Ay naging food waste, organic or fertilizer, or na-recycle. 20% lang ang kokolektahin mapunta sa landfill. Ang laking diferensya. Hindi nagabundok ng basura parang Smoky Mountain nun or Payatas kung may disiplina lang ang Pilipino sa paghiwalay ng basura. Do I make sense? Did I make sense in 1998 when I first wrote the law? Right? Yusek, Ridaw, how do you communicate that to the Filipino people? First, are you convinced? Or dapat magkasama ang basura at hindi sinusunod yung batas?
Ma'am, actually, the PCO launched through the direction of successor something very similar, which was Kalinisan sa Bagong Pilipinas, and recycling was part of that din po, informing at the barangay level the ways in which we could all participate in the cleanup through recycling.
It's not just recycling. Recycling is just one. It should be segregation at source. Because how can you recycle if you don't segregate? So, segregation at source, recycling, and composting. Bakit tayo bibili ng imported fertilizer kung kaya natin gumawa sa ating bahay-bahay? Maski sa paso, maski walang lugar, ilagay mo lang sa paso at may konting soil, di ba? Ganun. So, parte yan ng usapang agrikultura. Parte yan ng barangay information, ha? Director Torres, isama nyo sa module ang paliwanag sa ating mga batas sa kada barangay, sa kabundukan o sa karagatan. Bakit punong-puno ng plastic waste? Paano? Tinatapon doon. Bakit nagbabaha ang Metro Manila? Maliban sa dumadaming populasyon, dahil ang mga daluyan ng tubig, ang mga drainage ay puno ng single-use plastic, bumili ng ganito, tinapon, dyan na lang, or may basuran siya, natapon. See? So, communication so important. May patas palang ganyan, people know already, matitigas ang ulo. So, iba pa yun, pagpatino ng matigas ng ulo, iba pa yung pag-communicate dahil ignorante, dahil hindi alam nandyan yung batas. Kaya, communication is half the battle won. Right? Okay, please do that as a template. Part of your module. Dapat nandyan ang pagpatupad ng paghihiwalay ng basura sa nabubulok at hindi nabubulok. That's basic and simple. Celi Bueno, what have you learned from me in the decades you've known me? Rod, Ditalia, paano mo ipapaliwanag sa barangay na pinupuntahan ng PIA sa kanilang barangay? Kung ikaw mag-lecture sa Barangay Information Network ng mga anuman alituntunin na dapat malaman na makakatulong sa tao.
Ma'am, yung water impounding, kasi may iwasan yung, di ba, kapag nagpanahon ng El Nino, salat sa supply ng tubig, pero yung ginagawa ninyo, di ba, doon sa inyong restaurant sa Tagaytay, kapag panahon ng tagulan, naiipon yung water. So, panahon naman ng tag-araw, magagamit yung naiipon na tubig.
I-research nga nyo, hindi ko alam kung sino nag-author. Bago pa ako maging senador, meron ng Rainwater Collector or Collection Act, 1989. Nasa college pa ako noon. So, sino yung enlightened senator na gumawa noon? Na dapat ang DPWH, bawat barangay, may collector. Na ginagawa ko sa bahay ko, sa farm ko, yung makaya kong influence. Simple, alulod ng tubig. Sa bahay. Tapos nahuhulog. underwater cistern above ground, you're able to use the collected water, right? Oh, nakapasa si Sally Bueno, ha? Dito ka lang. Makinig ka lang. It's communications to eh. Dapat nandito kayo. Oo. Oh, sige. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, where are we? Usapang agrikultura, that's very good.
We're utilizing radio stations to produce digital content, which means they are required not only to produce every day, Mondays through Fridays, Usapang Agrikultura with guests from different government agencies under the Department of Agriculture, and we also feature, ma'am, success stories in agriculture, and
Meron kang YouTube version yan.
meron ho na
Meron?
makikita po yan, makikita po siya sa Facebook, makikita sa YouTube. Yes po. So actually ma'am, ang atake po niyan is digital social media. Ginamit lang po yung radio station to make it a credible.
Yan siya.
Nakalive po siya.
Nakaradyo ka sa 28 radio stations
Naka-Facebook
all over the country, pero kita ka rin naka-Facebook live.
Tulad po nito.
Okay. Saan yung Region 6?
Iloilo po.
Iloilo.
Opo.
Okay.
Ang guest po dyan is from through via Zoom, either from Antique
Kung
or from
magigising lang
Clan.
ako ng alas 4,
Alas 5 ma'am.
alas 5?
Ma'am, si former Senator San Escudero, every day.
He died already.
Opo. Nung buhay pa
Matagal
po
na
siya. No, it's not, hindi ho ganyan. But was my inspiration, ma'am, para sa ganyan. Because si Secretary Escudero po, 3 to 4 a.m. Talagang nagbabasa siya ng mga sulat. Opo. Agrikultura po. Opo. Sige po. Oo. In fact, ma'am, if I may, marami hong nagagawa ang PCO in the last 2 years ho. At marami ring ginawa ang nakaraan na ginagamit din namin ngayon. In fact po, I mean, we can discuss no, the proposed budgets. Where are we on slide 34? No, we can proceed on 30 muna tayo. Pumunta tayo ng 30, no? We can discuss those, ma'am. The reason why I directed my staff to do a hyperlink para anytime, kung gusto natin, we can discuss that. We provided you hard copy po. We had series of meetings after meeting with you last week. We had series of meetings per agency, per project, per program, per activity, precisely to give you a more detailed presentation. But in the interest of time, yan po yan, no? Then we can proceed to slide number 32. Another POPs, which means project activities and programs, components of freedom of information. We have detailed information, project profile, the description, activities, funding, activities, monitoring and evaluations per project. We have submitted that to you. We can proceed to slide 33. Slide 33 is basically informing your committee that our programs are in line with Philippine Development Plan, the 2023 to 2028, and further detailed into 8-point development agenda. Now, I'll now proceed to, for fiscal year 2025, the total proposed budget po is 713. That's the PCO proper, no? This is PCO proper ho. Hindi kasama yung PIA, opo. Okay po. On item number, I go to the slide number 35. This represents about 44% increase from fiscal year 2024 National Expenditure Program budget level of 495. However, it is 70% lower than the original fiscal year 2025 proposal submitted to DBM amounting to 2.4 billion, which means we submitted po to DBM 2.4 billion. Ang ibinigay lang po sa amin is 713. Ang dulo ng presentation ho namin, again, let me emphasize po. We submitted to DBM about 2.4 billion for the PCO proper for 2025. Ang binigay lang po is 713. Sa dulo ng presentations, we will be appealing sa dulo ho said po, 2.4 billion ang na-request po namin for 2025. Ang binigay po sa amin na Sekmena is opo. All right. Number one, PCO is the focal person on communications for the hosting of ASEAN Summit 2026. I participated on ASEAN when I was with youth and DOTR po. For 2026, there's estimated of 390 meetings from technical to technical working group to senior officials meeting to ministerial meetings to head of states.
Give me your communications plan for ASEAN for 2025.
Apo,
Do you already have?
we have yet. There,
No, that's why it was not funded by DBM, because you don't have the communications plan for ASEAN.
the basis po of our proposed budget for 2025 is almost similar to the
Just give it to
2017.
me, please.
Apo, we will.
What was the deleted amount of DBM?
We're ready po and we're ready po with that.
I want to see, first, I want to see the communications plan next 2 weeks of the Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference on DRR. Second, I want to see the module of the Barangay Information Network. And third, I want to see the ASEAN communications plan on the run-up to the 2026 ASEAN hosting. Proceed, please.
We'll comply po. If I may proceed on budget dimensions, slide 36, as to the various budget dimensions of the said proposed amount, the succeeding slide will show the breakdown of this proposed budget allocation. More than half, or around 67%, of this amount will go to maintenance and other operating expenses, while personal services PS component will have a share of 31%. Only
I want to know what the PCO is doing. Where do I go? Do you have, what is your, what platform do you use?
all right. There's a PCO Facebook.
Okay.
Um,
What's your following?
ilan na ba tayo ngayon? 3?
Ma'am, recently we hit 3 million followers on Facebook.
I'll visit your Facebook page.
It's an active and engaging, because our job, number one, is on presidential decisions. Every day, number one is on presidential decisions.
So,
Sec-
it only covers the president or any program of government.
including other government agencies.
Only in the executive, not the Senate, not Congress.
No, ma.
No, but only when they're signing, then you include us.
Opo.
So,
Or
even if I send you my press releases, you will not carry it because you're only carrying presidential events.
it doesn't follow po. Because you are covered by the state media. We have reporters here. PNA Channel 4. There's let me explain the integrated news. The PCO with PIA, PNA, the Radyo Pilipinas, and the IBC 13 and PTB4 is one. Agency. We're one hub. If you do a speech, if you do a press statement, you go somewhere in Bicol or in Ilocos, you are covered by PIA, you are covered by PNA, you are covered more logically by Channel 4. That is transmitted to us. That is transmitted to us. That is transmitted to us in the hub, in the Unicom. In the same is utilized, that content is used by the state media po. All right, so this is the proposed budget po, internet. Only 2% for capital outlay. To proceed, this slide will show items that will be funded by the proposed budget for PS, amounting to 220 million. PS requirement for 198 field positions, provision of loyalty award for personnel, step increment due to meritorious performance, and night shift differential pay of entitled personnel. To proceed, our proposed budget for MOE in the amount of 478 million will be used for recurring expenses, travels, provision of additional MOE requirements for newly created offices, logistics, communications, media production services, among others, and provision for ICT requirements but updated by ISP. To proceed, the continuing cost for internet, satellite, subscription expenses, repairs, and maintenance of ICT, purchase of semi-expandable ICT equipment and other expenses related to ICT trainings. On the capital outlay, our proposed budget for capital outlay for fiscal year 2025 is only 14 million. Will be allotted for procurement of additional ICT equipment. Next, 97% of the total amount reflected in PCO proper, kami lang po ito, for proposed 2025 budget under the NEP pertains to the agency-specific appropriations directly intended for our operational expenses and implementation of core programs and projects. A very, very minimal portion of total proposed budget, 3%, will be part of the automatic appropriations corresponding to government share of retired and life insurance premiums being remitted to GSIS. Next, here are the major programs activities to be funded by our proposed budget for 2025. These are reflective of what we did for 2024. The increase in the amount of 2025 proposed allocation for gas could be mainly attributed to PS requirements for additional plantilla positions created and or recently filled positions in our support divisions and offices. To proceed, the next two slides indicate some of our major POPs for 2025 that will be funded by the proposed budget. So, halimbawa po, the Food Security Cluster Communication Workshop, the National Security Communication Workshop, Economic Cluster Community Workshop. Ma'am, if I may explain, no? I'll pick on item number 1, slide 45. No? I'll pick on slide 45 po. On Food Security Cluster Workshop, in 3 days, we invited the heads of communications of food security, DTI, Department of Agriculture, in attached agencies, all comms, about 40 of them, to do a workshop with reporters of traditional media and non-traditional media covering the food security and experts. We went to, say, Nueva Ecija, just to do an understanding of policies, programs, and projects, and the terms, operational definitions, and at the same time deep dive on food security policies and projects and programs of the government. Dito ho, pinagsama-sama ho namin yung mga reporter na nagko-cover ng iba't ibang government agencies under the food security cluster at yung mga reporter who are covering these agencies. So pinagsama ho namin yan ng tatlong para magkaunawaan ano ba itong isinusulat namin, ano ba ang inilalako naming impormasyon sa inyo. Pag sinabi naming policy, pag sinabi naming programa at proyekto, anong ibig sabihin sa dako paroon? Then, halimbawa ho, let me cite to you another cluster po. National Security Cluster Communication Workshop. We invited the heads of the comms of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Army, and the DND spokesperson.
This perspective, this is for,
We've done that.
you've done it already in the past years or just
Ngayon-
for 2025?
Ngayon lang po, 2024.
And this was the tier 2 that was not funded? No.
Nasa tier 1 po siya.
Okay, so you're going to do it.
Opo,
Food security,
food security the same.
nandiyan ang agri, pasok dyan.
Opo.
Saan pasok ang climate?
Climate change, ma'am, is
NDRR.
climate change, ma'am. Sinama ho namin, well, where the DRR thing, the INVI and the EDRR thing is yet to be organized po. So,
Kasi, teka, foods, balik doon, balik. Balik sa pahina. No. I just want to see the list again, please. Yeah, okay.
slide 45.
Food security, okay, nandiyan ang agri, nandiyan ang tubig, no? National security, law and order, including external threats, internal and external. Okay? National security would be both military and police, right?
Including the Department of Foreign Affairs. We invited the DFA, the
Okay.
DI, the
So
Department
national
of Justice.
security.
Opo.
Okay. And then economic development, very broad, but that would be investments. It could be micro enterprises, MSMEs. They should know all the laws on trade and commerce, the OTOP. They should know the Magna Carta for MSMEs. They should know the Barangay Kabuhayan Act. They should know all the job recently enacted job laws, job generating laws. They should know the very old PESO law, the Public Employment Service Office, and also they're very good. The PESOs are very good, and meet with them so the PESOs know the job needs of the people in the community. Sa economic yun. And then the investment opportunities in areas. Social development. That's very broad, but what about social development? Informal settlers? What? What would social development?
Health, education, public health,
Lahat na yan.
education.
No, but public health is another cluster. So social development would be the what? The conditions. What would social development cover?
Context and background po. This refers only to the communicators of DSWD, education sector.
Okay, so
Urban poor,
counterpart nyo yan, yeah. So DSWD. So that would be informal settlers. That
Urban
would also
poor.
be, let's say, for children, the malnourished, undernourished, stunted children. That would also cover, let's say, the needs. Na pero public health na yun eh. So, himayin nyo ano yung sa social development cluster, and where would culture, arts and culture and heritage come in? Where will education come in? Where would DRR and climate resilience come in? Infrastructure, that's very clear. Public health, that's very clear. So, saan nyo papasok ang climate change adaptation and mitigation and disaster risk reduction, DRR, CCAM? Saan nyo ipapasok yung ibang mga tinanong ko kanina?
Okay.
Shoot nyo dyan.
Apo.
Sa which basket, right?
Apo. To clarify po, these are PCO initiated. On DRR and NVI, we are participant to their projects.
No, but what are these? These are workshops.
Workshops, communication workshops po.
Yes.
Apo.
So it's good to cover all aspects of governance in your workshops.
Understood po, and I think reasonably we will comply.
Diba?
DRR and NVI
What is the intention of these workshops?
is
To learn, to report, to communicate, to understand issues, right? So you must not exclude one of the biggest problems of our country, which is disasters. We're the #1 most at-risk country in the world. And everything we're talking about, whether it's food security, economic development, social development, infrastructure, public health, all of that, all of these are affected because we are #1 at risk. So, because we're #1 at risk, we must understand the risks and how to report it and how it affects. Or you may not have a cluster for that and make it the overarching issue, because the RCCAM affects food and food affects that. National security as well. Because water scarcity leads to wars and internal struggles. The lack of food leads to conflict, everything. And economic development. So it can be the overarching issue would be CCAMDRR, if you want. I'm just trying to see. And then where would education come in? It's important to cover education. Remember the PISA results. You must have a communications plan for that. How do we cover education? How do we explain that the literacy level is so low per PISA report of this year? And how can we, as communicators, help barangay communicators better? Where does education come in? Maybe in social development?
yes, in context, ma'am, but we are now guided, ma'am, by another idea, because social development in my previous presentation, ma'am, refers to education, health, and related topics. But I agree po, mukhang dapat ihiwalay din namin yan. While item number 1, item number 2, while it is true that ecological security is the highest form of security and therefore overarching to all these components, mas mabuti hong siguro ihiwalay na rin namin po. We will, sinulat ko na po yan.
Environment, climate, and resilience. Then you must have education, innovation, right? Social media, that's where it comes in, right? Artificial intelligence.
In fact po, there's another slide, but agree po with you. In fact po, we just conducted the National Information Summit where all station managers of Radio Pilipinas and all heads of PNA, PIA in the regional and provincial level for 3 days, ma'am. Pumunta ho kami ng Development Academy of the Philippines and defining.
Where do science and innovation come in? Wala eh. That's so important. Science, technology, innovation, futures thinking. Where does it come in? That's why there should be an education workshop.
Oh.
Education from basic, traditional basic, and then higher ed, then innovation and social media and artificial intelligence, innovation. Yeah, I said that already.
We had a National Information Summit and artificial intelligence figured prominently, but subsumed in the National Information Summit in a 3-day conference, but not yet reported here in a subsequent slide po last.
The arts and culture could be under education. I just saw that big gap there.
So if I may summarize po, one is DRR Envy, that's one. Second is education. And the likes of science and technology or slash future new ways of thinking, futures. Pwede pong another strategic workshop po. Sige po.
Job creation, of course, will be economic development.
Subsumed in the economic development po.
Yeah.
Subsumed in the economic development cluster of communications. Again, ito po yung mga communicators from the government side and communicators from traditional media. Nagsasama ho sila ng 3 araw para i-define ano ang strategic issues, anong trends, anong dapat matutunan sa mga sinasabi ng taga-gobyerno na dapat mauna. Di bali mag-away na...
Where would, let's say, ASEAN come in? Where would, let's say, where would the US elections and its impact that would come under maybe national security, foreign relations? National security, nandiyan ang foreign relations, right? Where would the West Philippine Sea issue under national security and China? Yeah. Okay.
We will cover those, ma'am. We will cover those. In fact, it was not difficult for us to organize these workshops po. Sige po. To proceed on item 46, that's slide 46, crisis communication masterclass. It's a for 2025, not happening in 2024, no? A print media conference, etc., etc.
We still have print media conference. Is that still relevant? Traditional, so print, media, radio.
Print is still, ma'am, let me
Yeah.
contextualize
You don't have
it.
television.
Let
So
me
it's only print and radio.
Let me contextualize po ito.
Mhm.
From my point, from our point of view, traditional media is still the #1 producer of social media content. Opo. So, importante pa rin ho sa amin ang television, radyo at print. No?
A radio workshop and print media, but no television workshop. And no social media or digital.
We have in other slides po. We just highlighted the major ones, pero mayroon na kaming social media workshops continuing. This is retooling. It's a continuing program of PCO. Mayroon din po kaming television on okay. Sige.
So a conference and a workshop for print and radio, but no television and no digital media or social media.
Correct. Kasi the nomenclature, the title itself is it's not really about television workshop. Yes po, we will include the television. Very, very important po.
Here and gathering, it's Christmas party lang yan eh. Diba? Gathering with, hindi. Kasi workshop eh. Iba yung workshop, iba yung conference.
We will revise this accordingly po. All right, to proceed, if I may, are we done with 46? Can you proceed to the next slide? Then the next slide. And the next slide. Okay.
What was that all about? 100 million, 300 million. What do you mean? Additional budget for the procurement of equipment. Oh, capital outlay for the Visayas hub. Whose amendment was this? Sinong chair nun? Yeah.
Senator
So
JB
you
was our
you requested
sponsor.
for this.
This was previously requested, ma'am, by the previous administration po that was carried for the 2022
Hindi sa inyo.
amendments.
Ngayon lang na-implement. 2022. Okay. Sige. The next, please.
For 2023, the Senate augmented, or we're done with that. For current year, the Senate likewise provided more than 300 million pesos to augment the PCO funds, which were used for the operational requirements of the new media operations clusters that were created under EO 16 Series of 2023. To proceed in 2022 and 2023, the Commission, I'm now discussing about some findings from the Commission on Audit. Okay.
Ay pa akong tanong dyan, baka daw ay pa, baka mag...
Ma'am, we're almost done. Ito na lang po ang appeal namin.
Diba, ang bait ko sa'yo, ha? Sabi ko, wag ko nang tignan yan. Kasi, pag matanang ko, iisa-isahin ko yan.
Sige.
Oo, wag na.
Punta na ho ako, ma'am, sa appeal to the committee on slide 61.
Appeal.
To the committee.
Hindi. Wag mo nang... pag yan, bigay
Okay.
mo na lang sa akin, soft
Okay.
hard copy, babasahin ko, tala, akit ka sa akin, okay? Babasahin ko, justify. Magkano total?
About 1.4.
Huh? 1.4 what? Oh! B? Oh. Sa nakaraang taon ba? Sinong chair dito? Nabigyan na kayo ng 1 billion augmentation?
300, ma'am.
Kaya nga,
Senator
paano kayo maging
Angara.
1.5 B? Oo, hirap. Hirap. Mga barangay lang, di pa nyo alam eh. Alam na ngayon. Please, give it to me now, Tala. And then prioritize, please. Okay, yun na. Tapos na. Ibang meeting yung APO at saka DFA. But thank you, sorry Gary that you had to come back. But ibang meeting yun. And then for the
Franchise, I
you
visit 30.
wanted me to file a bill on the renewal of your franchise, right?
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson. The franchise of Channel 13 was already approved by the House. It's sponsored by Congressman Joey Salceda. We attended the workshop.
Yeah.
We attended the workshop for
Yeah, somebody requested me to file a bill on your renewal. It's not in the
Madam
Senate, it was
Chairperson.
passed by the House. So there's no need for me to file.
The
But I was
renewal
willing
of
to do it.
our franchise is pending with the Committee on Public Service.
Yes. Okay.
We met with them already.
Will support.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Oh, wag ng PIA. Oh, si Toby. PTV4, you're the GM now?
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Hi. Toby.
I assumed this fairly recently in mid-June, ma'am.
Just June.
Yes, ma'am.
Siguro
I-
iba yung usapang PTV4. But you receive a budget from us, right?
That's correct, ma'am. For,
KAA.
yeah,
You're not
2024.
GOCC. Yeah.
But we are also a
Who's
GOCC.
Radyo Pilipinas?
Paro, ma'am.
Hi, Dindo. How are you?
Good morning,
That's
ma'am.
under Bureau of Broadcast.
Yes, ma'am.
Ang Radyo Pilipinas.
Yes po.
Yung Radyo ng Bayan. Ang PTV4 under Toby. That's TV, right?
That's correct,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
And PNA, who's head of PNA? PNA is
Under po
just
sa News and Information Bureau ang
kayo
PNA.
po. Sa News and Information Bureau, ang PNA for content.
Yes, ma'am.
Then PIA, who's the head of PIA? Ay, nga pala. PIA per region. Kayo ang both content and dissemination. What's the difference between PNA and PIA? Sila content lang.
They're a news agency, ma'am. We are the grassroots communicators.
Okay.
So we
But
bring
do
the-
content also.
We also do content, ma'am.
Can you give me please the PNA nationwide, the names, contacts of, and emails of the PNA and the PIA nationwide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
We will
yeah.
provide.
Okay, yeah. So that wherever I go, I meet the PNA and the PIA. And then also, give me their unique needs per region, per province, para maintindihan ko. Tapos, ibang meeting na lang kami ng PTV. I mean, I'll submit your budget, but pending my meeting with PTV because nanggaling ako dyan. Nagtrabaho ako dyan ng 1983 hanggang 86. So I
Yes.
want to understand your programming now
Yes,
and how I can help. I'm the author of your charter.
yes.
I want to see how you're using the charter. Mahaba kasi ang PTV mahabang meeting yan. At dali ng PTV, lahat ng departments, bureaus under you, what do you call it? Directors,
I'm sorry.
division chiefs?
We have, you mean, stations, ma'am.
No,
I'm sorry.
I need to meet and see the officers of PTV and prepare a separate proposal or just sort of understand PTV for how it works now. What are the stations, its reach,
Yes, ma'am. We're prepared.
and who's the head of content, who's admin and finance, who are the directors, producers, like people I knew from way back. Are they still there? Is Leo Docto still there? Is he still a director? Is
Director pa rin
Simon
po.
Pasha still there? He
Ay,
was,
pumanaw na po si. Wala na po.
died? He died?
I'm sorry, retired na po.
My God naman.
Hindi pa po.
Ano ba kayo? Alam mo, hindi nakakatawa yan, ha?
No, ma'am, I mistook him for another employee.
Para ito naman, Toby, head ka ng PTV, reporter ka, ang retired, huwag mo sa'yo pumanaw.
I mistook him for another employee, ma'am. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Natatawa kayo, pero yan, okay, alam ng mga staff kayo, yan ang kinaiinisan ko, ang misinformation, disinformation, and inaccuracy. Alam niyo yan. Buti lang kaibigan ko si Toby at nanggaling Senado yan. Alam niyo yan, pag kayo yan, patay. Alam ni Tala yan. Pag kaya wag pa dalos-dalos ang salita. Mas masabing, I'll check. Tala, sabihin mo nga, sa lahat, para alam. Mag-ingat. Whether you're in a cabinet meeting, a Senate hearing, or just conversing among yourselves or in a workshop, talk is cheap. Puro tayo salita, ganun. Ay, mali pala. Huwag tayong mali-mali, huwag tayong inaccurate, huwag tayong nag-disinform or misinform. We always check. Oh, Toby's a good reporter, but Simon Pasha is alive or dead?
Alive, ma'am. But he's retired already.
Retired, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And Leo Docto is still a producer.
Leo retired. I mean, direct Leo retired.
Mari Mamawal,
But he's still
left already. Maridatu. Hindi na abutan. Hindi na. Okay.
retired already.
Those were my team in 1983.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's, yeah. Who else are still there?
Direct Leo is still there, but he's on contract
Anyway,
na
I
lang.
just want to meet, maybe not them. Sila lang naalala ko from the 80s, but whoever are your producers.
Will do,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, I want to see. So, anong pa susunod? The printing office? What is this? Apo. Iba yun.
National Printing
Yo,
Office.
it's different. What does the printing office do? All the printing needs of government.
Well, we're one of the three government recognized printer, ma'am. We do the ballot printing and Apo do the passport printing.
Okay. Sige. Eh, kayo po? I can't see.
Ma'am, balota po kami, ma'am. Oh, okay.
DBM. DBM. O, dito. Okay. Okay na? Hahaba pa. Baka makahanap pa na. Yung submissions na lang nyo. Then I want to see their Facebook. Yeah, 3 million followers. Okay. Let's see. Only the PCO has a Facebook page. Everyone. Yeah. Okay. Hindi na ba nangyayari? Kanina ba yan nangyayari dati? Na mali ang mga pangalan ng bansa, may wrong spelling, wrong information. It's either PNA or PIA. Ano yun? Oo. Dati, sa mga nakaraang taon, may nangyayaring ganun. Ano? Ano? O basta, wag na magpangita pangalan. Hindi na nangyayari yon sana, no? Wrong information, right? Yeah. Okay. So, we schedule the Apple meeting. It's just going to be a meeting and the PTV4 meeting. And please submit the tier 2 or those you want me to support. And I'll see whatever I can. Kung ano sabihin ni recommend ni Tala. At saka ni Sec Cesar. Okay. Salamat sa inyong pagtiyaga, sa pakikinig ninyo, sa pasensya. I didn't mean to make it difficult for you. I just wanted to understand your budget and I want to be of help. And I wish this could be a longer, but then we have much to do. I'll study it further. If I have questions, I can call you or Tala or whoever, right? So thank you. I'm waiting also for the communications plan for the Asia Pacific Conference and ASEAN, right? I don't have to summarize what I said. And I hope that, we can help each other. The Bureau of Broadcast handles what? Only radio.
Radio, ma'am.
Radio lang.
Then we also have our Facebook pages in the different
Oh,
stations.
so Bureau of Broadcast would have both social media and
Yes.
radio.
That's the initial shift to the digital.
So I was wondering, no one's in charge of digital. Kayo na rin yun.
Halos lahat po across the platforms of PCO are now initiating the digital pages.
So why don't you change your
Stockman.
name?
From Radyo ng Bayan to Radyo Pilipinas. It used to be Radyo ng Bayan, ma'am.
But who handles social media?
There's a separate social media component of Radyo Pilipinas. It used to be from the
sino
research
senior?
department. Si George.
Under you.
Under research pa. Because hindi pa siya nagkakaroon talaga ng specific unit
Mm.
under the organizational structure.
Okay, may isa pa? No, suspend. No, tapos na.
We suspend the hearing of the budget.
Yeah.
But you
Wala
have
na.
to close the budget.
Oo.
It has to be for plenary.
Kaya nga for
Yes,
plenary.
ma'am.
We
But-
suspend.
We suspend only.
Suspend
because-
only this PCO.
No, ma'am. You suspend your hearing.
May hearing. Briefing pa lang to.
Hindi PCO lang.
It's only a briefing pa lang. So the budget is approved for plenary, but the briefing is only suspended. Hindi pa pala hearing ito. Yes, since the GAB is not yet with us. So we suspend the briefing, but we consider the budget as approved, subject to an increase. I will not decrease you. Subject to an increase after my study. Sige, thanks. If you give me good proposals, then I can always increase your budget. Right? Tama ba? Then, right? What did I do with to reserve. When the GAB comes here, I don't have a hearing anymore. The briefing is considered a hearing, right? Let's just like the OT. Thank you. So the budget will be considered in plenary and we suspend the briefing today. I thank each and every one of you. I hope you enjoy your lunch, which is not a good lunch. Yes, thank you very much. And I will wait for the deliverables to the office. Thank you. Yes. Okay.